Evie was the perfect first child. She was the child that makes you want to have 10 more. She was polite, she was kind, she was gentle, she was beautiful, she was funny. Oh my God, she was so funny. One day she came home from school and I was actually sitting on this lounge and she stood over me and asked me something and her eyes were wibbling, just side to side, really, really quickly. And I just looked at her and I was like, Evie, stop. She goes, what? And I said, your eyes, stop doing that with your eyes. And so she was like blinking and she goes, Mum, I'm not doing anything. My heart just dropped. I just had this feeling like something is wrong. So I called Josh immediately because he was at work that day. And I just said, something's really wrong. And Josh said, well, if your gut's telling you that, take her to the hospital. So I did. After 6 hours, we finally saw a doctor. He did the test and all of a sudden it was all fine again. I nearly burst into tears. I was freaking out. Like, what is going on? Why is my child losing vision in her eye? And then 2 minutes later, it's back. That's not normal. And I said, I need to do something about this because I know something is wrong.
Pia has always been correct with her gut feeling. Whenever the kids have been sick or something's not right, her intuition is second to none.
So Josh flew home and I took her to PCH. I had a letter from memory, I think it might have been from the GP, that I gave to the triage nurse at PCH, and within half an hour we were seeing a doctor. She did every single neuro test that she could, and as she was doing them, she was affirming to me, yes, I see something here. Yes, this is not normal. Yes, this is a little bit off. I see where you're coming from. It was just very, very comforting. He said they found a glioma on the left side of her brain, on the brainstem. DIPG stands for diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. The glioma part could be located anywhere in the brain. The pontine is the pons, so it's located in the brainstem. Diffuse, I like to describe as being like an octopus. The fact that it's got all these little tendrils, it's infiltrating certain functions that are needed to keep a human alive. So we were told that Evie would have about 9 months left. That was with palliative radiation.
No words to describe it. I just remember asking, still trying to grab for any hope, what's the percent chance? Give me a percent. And she said 0. It's a lot to hear as a father that your daughter's gonna die.
We told her that there was something in her brain that shouldn't be there, but it was gonna be okay. The doctors were gonna have a good look at it. We were gonna go to the hospital, do a bunch of tests, see what we can do to help you. And we even said, we're just gonna take it day by day. We'll see what happens, but we can get through anything as a family.
My daughter, when all this was happening and I was there with her, she looked at me and she said, I don't want you to go to work again, Daddy. Until that moment, I'd always gone, there's no way that we can survive without me going to work. And then when Evie said that to me, I completely shifted and was like, we will make this work.
Yeah.
You know, the first part of that is obviously speaking to Linkforce and letting them know exactly what's going on.
All of his managers, supervisors, superintendents, friends that he worked with who were calling him and saying, don't give work another thought, we'll be fine, you do what you need to do and you let us know how we can support you. I was laying next to Evie And I was laying next to her, and all of a sudden I heard her breathing change, and I just knew like this was the end. I think there was about 12 of us in the room. She left us at a moment when the entire room burst into laughter over a really stupid joke. And you audibly heard her take her last breath and then be done. And it was the most appropriate way she could have gone, because it was like she needed us to be happy.
That whole day ended with me having to pick my daughter up and put her in a body bag and zip her up and then put her in the back of a hearse so they could take her away. And out of everything that happened in that year, that is one thing that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. That affected me more than anything that whole year. No parent should have to bury their own child.
The only thing that we can rest easy with now is the knowledge that she's never going to have to suffer like this again. And in that moment, I know my determination to change this for other children and to change this for other parents was born. And I am so driven and angry and enthusiastic and energetic about never, ever, 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 ever watching this happen again without me working to change it for someone. So we've started the Evie Whips DIPG Foundation. First, we wanted to name it after Evie because she's incredible and amazing, and we worked with Evie while she was still with us to develop some of the concepts for the foundation. One of the first goals that I had in mind for our foundation was to provide a lump sum of money to the families of the children diagnosed at diagnosis without judgment or justification. One of our main reasons is, of course, research. The brains who are researching in this country are world class, but they receive a pittance. In 60 years since Neil Armstrong's daughter, 2-year-old daughter, died of DIPG, we've had absolutely zero movement on treatment with DIPG. So not only are we working to fund more research into DIPG, we're also trying to raise awareness of DIPG in the country so that we can get more opportunities to fundraise for research. I absolutely believe that the Evie Whips DIPG Foundation can help these families and make these kids' lives so much better and more comfortable.